right, welcome everybody. I think I'm actually live this time. So thanks for joining me here. Please hit thumbs up, subscribe, and share and all that stuff. And then let's get started. So today I wanted to go over GameState stuff or GameState management. I actually was going to add in a new GameState to this thing I'm building, and I thought, why not share the process and kind of let everybody see what that's like and what the game state looks like. So if you're curious about building a state machine for your game, if you've just been thinking about it, or you just want to see another implementation of it, then make sure that you hang around and again, hit thumbs up, subscribe, and say hi in chat or drop a comment. So let's switch over to the desktop and I'll show you what we're working with and what I want to add it to. So here's the game. I'm going to pop it into play mode real quick. And I've got it set up with two bots that'll play right now. There's two teams. It's really set up for any number of teams, but I've got two going here for testing. And each team has 4 characters. Their 4 characters will each pick a position. They'll move towards each other and then eventually get into a fight. There's a player controlled mode I'll show you in just a second, but let me speed this up. I'm going to go to my Odin Inspector, Static Inspector, and just drag up the time scale real quick. Get them to all move really quickly. I've got it in kind of a slow mode for when I'm playing on my own. I don't want it to go too quick, but when I'm demoing or testing, I just grab up that time scale. So they'll get in range, and then once they're in range, they're supposed to go through and actually do their fighting. Let's put this in a 1080p. There we go. Looks better. Let's time scale that up again. Okay, there you go. And they'll start going through fighting. It's supposed to be switching the cameras to. Oh, I think there was only one guy to fight there. Let's clear this up just a little bit. I'm gonna go to the inspector and go to this hex generator. I've got a thing to get rid of those tile positions because they're kind of obnoxious. Okay, if I am quiet, by the way, please let me know. Um, if more than one person thinks it's too quiet, I'll turn it up a bit. I'll try to keep talking clearly and loudly though. But here you can see that after each round of move, this is a selecting round, a moving round, and then a fighting round. And the fighting round goes through, each character will fight, and it kind of selects them here. You used to be able to tell which one was selected. Right now it's the spider. It goes in order, but I kind of broke it with the health bar part over. I reused the indicator as a health bar, so it didn't work out great. All right, so let's show you guys the human controlled mode, and then I'll show you what we're going to add in for this new system. Okay, so let's see. I'm going to go, I'll turn myself up just a little bit. So let's add in, yeah, okay, I'm turning myself up a lot, so make sure that I'm not too low. So if you're still with me, please hit thumbs up and let me know that the volume is better. All right, so the way that it works now is each player here will control whatever characters are underneath them. You can spawn characters underneath them, but for the setup right now, it's just nice and simple that each player controls whatever characters are children of it. Let's turn off all these gizmos. There's way too much. You can see I got tons of canvases here for debugging. So each player controls these things, and then the way that the player is controlled, if I select the player, there's a player object that actually has more direct control over each of the characters, knows what its characters are, how much money it has, what kinds of things it can build and all that, and its team color. And then there's a controller. We got a bot player controller and a human player controller. And this is so that I can separate out the kind of the command giving of to the player from the actual player. That makes it easy for me to jump over to a sorry, looking at the comments again. Makes it easy for me to jump over to a network setup so that I can have this be multiplayer and then have the messages come from somewhere else, or do like different multiplayer setups, or have different types of bots and other things. So hopefully the volume, I cranked my volume way up. Hopefully it's loud enough now and everybody can hear. If not, let me know and I can still keep fixing it, but hopefully it's really good. Let's see. I don't know if it's still not high. I've got it cranked. Oh, wait, hold on. Let's check something. Okay. No, that seems like it's on the right one. I just want to make sure that we're on the actual correct microphone and you're able to hear stuff. So it's on the wavelength one. Okay, I've got it cranked way up. I don't know if I can get this to go any higher. Let's see. Okay, how about there? Okay, we're just gonna do this. Okay, we're gonna go with this mic. So I don't know what's going on with that one, why the volume is so low. Oh, I do know why. Sorry. I am incompetent. There we go. That should be better. Okay, I sorry about my incompetence there. I was turning up the headphone volume. So sitting there just cranking up the headphone volume, wondering why you guys couldn't hear me. So hopefully this sounds better, and now everybody can hit the thumbs up button if you haven't already hit it, now that everything's sounding good. Okay, so now the way this is set up, we've got a player here. Good, I'm glad it's sounding better. We got a player and then the controller that sends it whatever the commands are. The bot player controller is relatively simple. Sometimes it builds. It has a thing to do with selecting and setting a destination for stuff. And then it does. There's a bunch of unused stuff and a little bit of things to go get treasures. It's very, very simple and basic. The human one, slightly more complicated. It just allows you to click on things, and then if you control that unit, you can send a message over to the player. Like you can tell the player to select a character, or you can, this is showing a hover of the path, which actually I think is disabled. It's not showing anymore. But if I select a character, it'll eventually call into something like player.select, which you can see right here. If I have actually selected it, so it goes through, checks to make sure that I selected a character, that it's my own character, that it's not like an enemy's character. That's this check up here. If I actually got something selected, then we go into the select method, which like selects character, highlights them, lights it all up, puts them down in the bottom there that you'll see in just a second, and then allows me to give them commands. So let me show you that, and then I'll talk about the way game states work and how we're going to add in the new game state. So let's hit play. And now you should see it in the selecting mode. So it's going to go immediately to selecting, and it's going to tell me how many units I have left to select. It doesn't give me a good view of what they are. It's hard to know that these aren't mine and those are. It's something that was planned but not done yet. So click on a guy, and then I can give him a destination, and I can click on each one of the guys, give them each a destination. I think if I click down here, it's bugged because there's a canvas popping over it, but I can click anywhere within the range. Oh, actually, I guess I can click out of the range. I haven't tested that again. I have unit tests in here, but I broke them all and I haven't fixed them. I was going to do that, but then I decided to live stream instead. So the tests, I think the stuff works. It's just the tests are broken. I guess we'll find out in a second. Is this guy going to stop when he runs out of energy? Yep, he still stopped. Okay. He just kept his destination. That's what he should do. All right, then they'll all move and all that. So eventually they'll get into combat range, and I will get destroyed by the bot once my guys all get close enough. And what I wanted to do next, before adding in all of the balance stuff and some targets and things, is I want to get the first phase of the game working so that you can actually pick and select characters. Because right now I've just got the whatever guys I've randomly placed out there to test with last as the characters. So I want it to be a system where the player can pick from any of the characters and then just drop them out onto one of their starting areas so that they can kind of, I guess, just really have control over how it all plays out, or how they start the fight. So let's get these guys moving down here. I'll watch them fight once, and then we'll take a look at how the states are going through, and then talk about how to add in a new state to the state machine in the system. So you see right now it's in moving state, and it's going to go through each character. This little bar is actually the progress of how many of them have moved. It's terrible. It's going the wrong way. Totally not easy to tell what it is, but it's showing what percentage of the characters have done their move so far. So it's going to go through each one. They'll each move, and you can see some logging down here. There's a lot of logging, a lot of debug stuff that kind of pops up over characters that I can turn on and off, and that's all right in here. So I can go like turn all of these on if I want. And then there's just ridiculous amounts of debug stuff, and turn most of it off though. Actually, I'm going to turn all of it off because I don't need to debug anything right now. I just want to see that now we go into the fighting stage. The camera controls, it's one of the things I wanted to fix. Some issues with the fighting cameras. I'm not sure what I want that to look like. If you have thoughts on what that should look like, by the way, the camera for the fighting mode, please drop a comment, let me know. Kind of curious, like get some good ideas for how I want it to look. I'm thinking maybe I'll keep it in more of a top-down mode but tilted, but not completely sure. All right, so we've got the guys go all through and they'll fight just like in the move mode, and then it goes right back into selecting. So let's take a look at how this actually works. The way that the game state machine works is just in the simple game manager. There's a game manager object. It's got a canvas manager. It's spawning some stuff for the characters, the health bars that are around them, and some other things that I've pretty much deprecated. I'm going to get rid of completely soon. A treasure spawner that just spawns treasures every, I think it's every round of selection. It'll spawn a treasure at whatever the chance is. And then the game manager script. And the game manager, this is the part that I assume everybody is here for, most interested in. It's relatively simple, and it has a game state that it keeps a static game state for the current state. And in the awake method, it just instantly sets our state to a new selecting state. And right now, it's very inefficient. It's creating a new state for every transition, but it does not matter at all because throughout the game, maybe going to create like 30 of these. It's not worth the time to optimize and change it. So right now we create a current state in awake, and then in start, if the auto start option is checked, which is just a bool on the thing, so you can go turn it on or off. It's off for unit tests. It's on for everything else. If it's on, then it just kicks off the game it waits for a second so that I can kind of pause and do other things. There have been lots of times where I wanted to kind of catch it and pause before the beginning game. So it waits for a second right now, then calls begin game and then loop game. And begin game, if I remember right, it actually just kind of redoes what awake is doing. So it creates a new game state selecting, which is kind of duplicate, and then it yields the interstate. And the way that all of these states work, if I go into one of them, is that they inherit from this abstract state class. And again, super simple state machine, because the way that the states need to work is to go in a loop. It's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and pretty much not going to break out of that unless the game ends. Then we'll go back to whatever 0 is, which is what we're going to kind of implement now. So the way the state machines work, we've got a duration that is kind of unused now. Initially it was all time-based, but I've kind of gone away from that. We have a next state that each state has to implement. That's why it's abstract on the abstract class. And then we've got an on enter that has IEnumerator, so we can yield on it like a coroutine. And then there's a percent through. This is we don't need that. Let's clean this up. It's just an abstract bool here. I probably want to move these abstract members all together too. I feel like that is a little bit cleaner if they're just kind of right next to each other instead of spread throughout the class. Then we've got an interstate. Let's see. Oh, I can't. I always forget that you can't expression body these IEnumerator ones. There's a tick method that's no longer used. This actually used to be used to keep track of the time and the time active. I would probably just delete that, but I don't want to break things right now in the middle of stuff just in case I decide that I need it for something. And then we've got the interstate. And then interstate is just implemented by each one of our states. So you can see here it's a little bit small, but I've got begin game, switch to next state, and clean up corpses right here as my states that are implementing the interstate. So if I go to, where's that at? Begin game. Oh, sorry. This is the one that's the calls to it, not the implementations of it. I lied. Let's hit Shift F12. Why am I not finding? What am I? I'm blind. I hit the wrong keys everywhere. Where are my? Oh, I'm on the wrong one. That's interstate. I'm looking for on enter, the overrides. Totally blind. So the way that it works, let's just clarify this, is there's an abstract class, a game state. You can't instantiate game state, but you can override it with these subclasses. Each one of the subclasses has to implement each one of the abstract methods here, or abstract properties. These are all properties, and then there's one method. If I could stop scrolling past it. Oh, it's actually virtual, so you don't have to implement it. But you do have to implement all of these properties: the duration, the next state, percent through, and the display text. The on enter, if you do nothing, if you don't implement it, because it's virtual and has a default implementation, it'll just wait and do nothing, but you can override it. So let's take a look at the selecting state, and this will make a lot more sense. So if I go to game state selecting, and let's zoom this text way, way, way in, and you look at the on enter, it's actually a little bit cluttered and messy because I've been going through and cleaning stuff up and making big messes everywhere at the same time. But what it does is It will initially switch the camera controller to that overview, so it's like the top-down, far-away view, but not completely top-down, somewhat angled. Then it will tell the hex generator to pass turn, which I think really just does some. Let me double check what it does. I've lost track. Oh, it gets rid of the spiderweb stuff for impassability. And my thought here is that it's here. Let's zoom in a little bit. It's got this pass turn. It loops through all of the tiles, and then it just decrements the number of turns that it's impassable for. And the reason for this is so that we can make tiles in here that like turn to ice, or there's some that you can shoot spider webs with the spiders already, and it'll block the tile for some number of turns. So that's what it's doing there. It's kind of resetting that or incrementing that and passing the turn for each one of those. Yeah, updates tile effects. Like I even had a comment there for why it was there because it was a little bit confusing. Then we try to spawn some treasures. Then we restore the energy to all of the characters that are alive. And the way that works is each character right now gets 5 energy by default. I think some of them have their values cranked down, and they can move 1 tile per energy, and their abilities take some amount of energy. We clear out the destination of anything that's alive. That's kind of up in the air. I might do long-term stuff, longer distance pathing, so I might not keep that in there, but it's in there for now. Then we go through each player by priority, or each character by priority that has a bot, and then select a destination, or tell the bot to select a destination for it. Again, super inefficient, doesn't really matter. Character by priority is just a list of all the alive ones. I think it's actually a hash set of all the alive characters ordered by their initiative score. So whatever has the higher score gets to go last, right? Because I have them. Let me double check. Yes, yeah. A lower priority is faster. So 1 is first. Yeah, that's the way that it's set up. I should probably add in a comment though. Maybe not a comment, but maybe rename initiative so that lower is better. I don't know, because I feel like it's hard to know which way is better on that. If you guys have thoughts on which way initiative should be, should higher be faster or lower be faster? Let me know. All right, let's go on. So the next thing it does is check to see if anything should build, if any of the bots want to build. And then it goes through and waits until the player, this is some commented out stuff, this is where I used to do the time-based thing. It waits until the player has set a destination for all of their units. So it loops through it while all of them are alive and just checks. So basically every frame checks to see if they're all alive. If there are any that are alive and don't have a destination, sorry. So this isn't actually count alive. It's count alive without destination. Let's rename that. Count alive. Alive without destination. I don't really need count. It's an integer. I know it's a count. All right, so the number alive without a destination. If it's more than 0, then we just sit there and wait. And then that's basically how it works. What'll happen after that is after the state's done, it'll just move on to the next state. It'll call into a new game state moving. Game state moving will just loop through each of the characters. It'll move them. It just tells them to perform their movement, which again just waits with an I enumerator until the character's finished moving. I had them all going at once, but then I decided to change it so that they would go in turn. And then we go into the final state, which was the fighting one. And they'll loop through each character that still has a target in range and or has a tile that they're targeting, because some of them can do like tile targets. So you could have like a spider shoot a web, or the archer can do an AoE arrow onto a tile. If you have one of those set, then we allow that character to attack. And then loop through, each one does their fighting part. So they'll get into the battle, do the combat, play the animation, do damage, and then we go on to the clean up corpses state, which just cleans up all the corpses, and then right back into selecting. The clean up corpses state is the most recent one, and it's just to kind of clear it up. There wasn't a good spot for where to clean up all the dead bodies, so it just kind of made sense to put it in another state. So we've got selecting here is next, and then just kind of continue that loop. So the state machine essentially just goes through. If we go back to the game manager, let's see, we'll go into our loop game here. I've lost track. Oh, right there. So in start, after we begin game, we call loop game, which is just a while true loop that just yield returns switching. And then here I have a little bit of a delay, and that's just because There were some cases where I screwed stuff up and things were switching into the next state the same frame. So just to prevent me from making a mistake and accidentally doing that and freezing up my editor, I just put in a little tiny delay there. So I know I'm good until everything's nice and solid. So the next step is going to be to add in a state where the characters can place their guys. So instead of having everything be out here on the board, I want some setup where they can just pick what characters they want and drop them kind of onto the screen. Maybe I'll just put them onto the side. That might be a good idea. Let me go take a look at the game view. Let's go find a camera. I'm thinking maybe I just put characters off to the side and they can just drag out whichever ones they want. Like maybe they can pick 3 or 4 characters or whatever from the pile. So let's go find a camera. Let's go find the overview camera. Make that solo mode. Let's put it at priority 100. Why is it not showing up? Overview has the target group. That has this target group. I should be showing up. What am I missing here? What's going on with my camera? Where you at, camera? What are you looking at? Cinemachine Brain. What is the problem here? Why is the camera not looking... Figure out what camera controller that is. None of them are over there, so why is it not looking at the right spot? First off, we don't need any custom camera plans and get rid of that, but what is going on here? Why? It says it's looking at the overview camera. The overview camera has the target group. The target group's empty. How did that happen? Okay, let's just add in the we'll add in the healer, and I'll just put in one of the characters from the other side. Oh, I got hit plus. Here we go. So what was going on there for everybody who's still watching and didn't drop out when I got confused for a second? The overview camera right here is targeting and looking at the target group here, and a target group has a set of characters with weights and radiuses, and then that is what will show up there. So now I can see them all. All right, so for player 1, what I want to do is make it so that player 1, because really it's just going to be, I think, 1 player per system, is selecting their character or selecting their units and dropping them out first. And I don't think that should be near the edge of the screen, so I'm thinking that I'll move player 1 maybe right down here. Let's kind of make this view a little bit bigger. I don't need such a giant console view. So I'm thinking maybe player 1 would drop down to like right here, or maybe even right down here. Let's move the camera. Actually, maybe I'll just set up a camera exactly where I'm thinking that's not targeted at stuff. Let's do that. Let's set up another Cinemachine camera. I'm going to remove all of the targeting from it. And I'm going to call this like character selection camera. I'm just going to assume that I'm using this map for now. And then obviously I'm going to be regenerating and making all kinds of different maps and stuff. By the way, if you want to see how the maps are done before I do that, you just go here, you just hit generate, whoosh, and you get a new map every time. So you get a totally different layout. The toggles turn on every time, but you get a different layout, and then you can adjust like the size of it. Right now I've got it at 200 tiles. I can crank that up or down. There is also a height and width, so I can do these more rectangular ones. But for the way that I've got it set up now, you just select the number of tiles you want, hit generate, and then it gives you the thing. So if I went to like, here, let's show you like a smaller one real quick. So go down to like 100. I got this little one, and then it also does a border around the edge. So it's 100 inside, and then a little border around the edge. So if I go back up to 200, we should get back to the size that I was at. There we go. Let's go to like 220. I'm curious what that looks like. Well, I like that better. Got more blocks on the edge here. There's a weird little nook back there that they can put their guys in if they want. I think that'll work. So let's take this one. This is going to be CM, let's call it character selection. And then we'll just place that camera right about, I'm thinking here. So Control-Shift-F to drop that in that place. And then if I hit solo on it and go over to my game view, that's what I've got. So thinking you'll see like the character choices right here along this line. And then I don't know about this bar. I want to move the camera up just a tiny bit. Let's adjust that. Let's go find this camera. Or no, I guess I want to move it. Yeah, like that down just a little bit. Up and down. Gonna get the right word in there, right? Okay, so we've got it in. I think that that's the place that I want it. So this will be my camera for it. I'm going to add that to my camera control system. Right now, my camera control system is a giant disaster. I've got a Cinemachine camera with a controller that just switches between a bunch of them. And I'm going to add in one more. It'll be my character selection camera. So we'll add in a mode for or a camera for character selection. I'll duplicate that and call this character selection. And then we'll find there's a method that hides all of them. So that if I just hit F3, all to 0, it sets the priority of all of the cameras or all of the VCams down to 0. So I'll just set that one down to 0. And then we'll make a method that calls all to 0 and sets this priority up to 100, just like the other one. So I'll call this public void show character selection. And we'll say show, or no, what is it? All to 0. And then the priority is equal to 100. Now I've got a really ugly method that I can call on my camera controller to show that character camera. Now let's go in and make our state so that we can actually call into it. So to make a new state, what I usually do is just open up one like our fighting state. And I'll go to the bottom and start typing. Actually, let's use the corpses one because that's the smallest. So clean up corpses has a nice, simple implementation. So just go to the bottom, and you can do this whenever you're writing code, but this is generally how I do it. I'll start typing right here. I'll go public class, and I'm going to call this, how did I name these? GameState, and then whatever. So I'll call it GameState character selection. And then it needs to inherit from GameState. So put that as the base class. Then we add in the braces, go to GameState, hit Alt-Enter, and hit Implement Missing Members. That'll pop up this little window that just appeared off the screen, and you hit OK. It's going to be slightly different in Visual Studio, but not different. You hit the button, and it'll implement all of your different members right here. So we've got a duration, a next state, a percentage, and a display text. So for the next state, we're just going to return out a selecting state. So we'll turn a new game state selecting. That's selecting destinations, really. I should probably rename that because now we have character selection and selecting. It's kind of confusing. Let's call this destination selection. Game state, destination selection. And here I'm using the rename, so it's Control RR or F2, depending on your hotkey. And that didn't just change it here, that actually renamed the entire class and the file and everything else. So it's not like I'm just doing something magic here. Just took the one that was game state selecting and made it to destination selection so that it makes a little bit more sense and it's a little bit more apparent that what it is compared to game state character selection. Destination selection and character selection, obvious. Character selection and selecting, a little bit less obvious, I think. All right, so for the display name, we'll just return back selecting characters or character selection. Use an expression body property for that. For the percent through, I don't know what I want to return yet, and same with duration. I do, however, know that I want to override the onEnter, so we'll add an onEnter and just start typing ONEN, and you get the pop-up here to override it. I don't need to call into the base one because remember the base one didn't do anything. If I go to it and hit F12, obviously it just yields returns null. So what I want to do instead is actually do something here. First thing is to tell that game camera controller to show us the character selection mode. So say game camera controller dot instance dot show character selection. It's going to pop up that character selection. And then we want to wait until the character, or I guess we kind of want to show all of the characters available and then wait until they have placed them all. So let's say while placed is less than must place, something like that. Then yield return no. I think that's probably all we need. Actually, I don't think place needs to be a member. Let's get rid of the underscores there. and then we'll just go implement placed and must place. So I'll say int placed equals 0, int must place. And for now, I'm going to start it off, I think, hard-coded at 4, and then we'll figure out where that variable should say. Actually, let's do, I know where I want to put it. Let's put it in game settings dot instance. No, it's game settings dot current, not instance, dot characters, or let's call it start character count. There we go. And we're going to just put that at 4 as a field here. So we'll make this an other, create a field in our game settings, which will be an int. And then I'm going to zoom this way in, and we'll make the value equal to 4. Give it a range of maybe like 1 to 8. I don't know, so, something somewhat reasonable. It's really just so I can get a slider on there. And we'll default it to 4. Oh, somebody asked if I considered streaming on Twitch. I think that we might still be streaming on Twitch. I think that it's live on Twitch as well. I'm not 100% sure. If I am live on Twitch, though, and you're watching, please say hi and let me know. I'm watching in the chat so I can kind of see. All right. So we're in the on enter. We will show the menu or show the character selection screen area, and then we'll wait until we've selected all of the characters. And then to select a character, we're going to need to probably like place characters right up here, and then allow the player to kind of either click them or drag them onto a spot, something like that. I got to figure out what it is that they'll. I'm thinking they'll probably just click and drag and like pull it out there, but I want to be kind of independent of how that happens. So I want to make sure that whatever thing is doing it, the control for it is somewhat separated out from everything else, I guess is kind of the goal there. So let's go find my camera again, character selection, and then let's go set up some characters that we can have there. I'm going to just add in a new root game object here, create empty. I'll call this character selection. And I'm going to reset the transform on it. And then I'm going to add in, I don't know if I want to add in characters below it because I have these character prefabs in my prefab folder, or if I want to add in some other object that's kind of related to a character. Somebody asked what my Twitch name was. I think in there it's actually listed as GameDev Show. It used to be my name, but then I was just streaming the GameDev Show there mostly. So I think it's listed as GameDev Show, but it could be as my name or that. I'll check in a minute if you want. Go take a peek. Let's drop out a character here. Oops, I wanted to make that as a child of character selection. Got him right here. Let's reset the position. Okay, he's way off from 0, 0. Okay, let's just drag it over here. And F. And drag. And get him right over here. So it's kind of thinking like, actually, that's not a bad idea. I could just give them... I could just put the characters that are available right there. They could place them, and the ones that they don't place, I can just disable. That's actually a really simple idea. Instead of making some complicated system here, oh yeah, that's so much better. Why didn't I think of that in the first place? Okay, let's delete this character. This is what I like. Make it nice and simple. So I've got my players. I'm actually going to take my players out of this game world object. I've had them in there forever because initially I was moving things around and they were children of it and it made a lot of sense, but now it just doesn't make sense. So I'm going to move my player object. Player 1 is going to be right down here. I'm going to just drop the player object right there. I'll take the characters underneath them. The healer here. Let's take the healer first. Drop them like right here. Let's see what the game view looks like. There's the game view. I'm going to drag this down below so we can get just a little kind of preview of it and see where they line up. So I've got those 5 tiles. So we've got this dude here. Let's drag him, spin him, and move him right about there. Oh, that's right. The bounds is showing him, isn't it? Let's see. Let's go find that. Game world. We've got character selection. Oh, no, it's not showing a... Is this not the camera that's on? Ah, it wasn't. That's why. This is the one I want on. So character selection. Let's crank that up to 1,000. Okay, so I got my guy right there. I don't know if I like that view. It looked a lot cooler before. Okay, I'm just gonna leave it like that for now. Okay, so I've got this dude here. Let's take the other ones. I really want to get it functional and then figure out, because to be honest with the visuals, I don't know if I'm going to keep it in a fantasy mode, go to sci-fi, something completely different. It's mostly just about getting the functionality working first, and then getting it to look a way that works and makes sense. I want to make sure that it's fun and interesting, which I guess is also going to require visuals and stuff to look right. But I'm just not sure what those visuals are yet, so I want to make sure that I get the functionality first and then figure that out next. It's on my short list. All right, so we got the spider here. Get him into place. I'm not doing a very great job of that. There we go, Mr. Spider. You're almost at your home. And I'll spin him around. Okay, so you got those 4 guys. I've got some other characters, but I don't know if they work yet, so I don't want to enable them. The troll and they didn't do anything special yet, so it doesn't really make a lot of sense to worry about them. I want to put them in soon, though, so we can have some really cool, like, special characters. All right, so we've got the character selection camera. I think I'm going to bring this down, tilt it a little bit up. I don't want it tilted up too much, though. Maybe I just got to bring it in. Yeah, this is just... I'm not good at deciding on camera setups. All right, whatever. So I've got my characters right there, and in stage 1, what I want to do is make it so that all of the characters are in, like, this placement mode, so that characters are not actually on tiles. Right now, the default is that they just snap straight to a tile, the nearest tile, and I want to make that kind of an option that I can turn on and off. So I'm going to take player 2's characters. I'm going to move them off of their initial starting tiles, too. So let's take player 2's characters. They're right here. Actually, where's player 2's object? I'll move that kind of over here to the opposite side, I think. This is going to be like the bot player in the one-on-one mode. Obviously, it would be wherever that one, just random other second player on a multiplayer mode or something. And then, well, realistically, I'll change this map completely because I want to be able to support way more than just 2 players, because 2 players is cool and all, but I think 4 is better, and 8 is better than that, and the more the merrier, up to whatever point makes sense. All right, so the characters are now off the tile. So step 1, let's make it so that they don't snap to tiles. Let's hit play, make sure that they snap to tiles, and that we can verify that I'm not crazy first, and then we'll remove the thing. Okay, so there they go. They snapped to tiles, and they're in a move mode. They're waiting for me to give them orders. Yep. I can give them all orders. I don't know why the camera didn't switch views. What is it doing? Oh, I know what's the problem. The problem here is that I changed the character selection. No, that shouldn't matter. What is going on? Let's see. Any errors? Yeah, we got errors in the console. Okay. Oh, I didn't assign the camera. So earlier, if you were here then, say hi and let me know. But if you were here, I dropped in a new camera, or a new virtual camera for our camera controller, this character selection one, but I didn't assign it. So I created it, did not assign it. So as soon as we tried to call something in there, got an exception and everything blew up. So we never actually got into, when it said moving, that's a lie. That's the default text. I should change that to say not running. There we go. Now I'm in selecting state. I can see my characters. I can select them and give them destinations. Okay, make sure that it goes into the next state, and then we'll jump into placing. All right, looks like it worked. They're moving around. It went into moving state. All right, so next up is going back into code, and we want to change it so that we go into the character selection state and we actually use this state. So let's make this our default state. To do that, I'll go into the game manager, and in the game manager, remember I had this begin game method that gets called by the start, which is an IEnumerator, so it'll run as a coroutine. And in here, we just initialize it by creating a new GameState destination selection, which is not what we want. We want a character selection. So I'll replace it with character selection just like that. Do a build. And then, yeah, I think that's it. We should jump into our new state. The only difference here is that the camera is going to change for 1 second and then instantly jump back over. That's my guess at least. So let's hit play because it should go into that state and then instantly finish that state because there's nothing really for it to wait for. If you look here, there's where's that at? GameState, clean up corpses. There it is. Right here, it's going to enter. It's going to loop through nothing. It's going to, yeah. Oh, actually, no, it's going to just sit there and wait until I've placed all 4 characters. I lied. So what's actually happening, let's go take a look. I love when I lie on stream. So it gets into here, and then it shows the character selection, and then it says placed at 0. And then while we're waiting until we get up to 4, which is that value here, it just waits. So it's just going to sit in this state. So here, if I debug, I just hit F5, add in a breakpoint. You should see that we're just hitting this breakpoint basically indefinitely until placed gets turned up to 4. I could go over to the immediate window and just say placed equals 4 and then set it that way and remove my breakpoint, jump back over to Unity. Let's see. And you see that it's actually moved on now because it thinks that I placed all 4. So let's stop playing and change it up. My characters I don't want to auto snap, so let's change that first. We'll go into one of the characters. Just find the character script here. And there's an option to, or there's a way that it snaps. So I'm just going to search for the word snap. Snap to nearest tile. It's in awake. And it just looks for the nearest tile that's available and empty. And then snaps the character right to it. So what I want to do is just add in an option here. Say if, now where do I want to put this? Do I want to put this in game settings or in the game state? I'm just going to put it in game settings for now. So in game settings dot current. No. I'm going to look at the game manager. If the game manager dot wait, how did I look at that before? Let me go look. Game manager, because the game manager has an option for auto start. Let me think. Trying to think of how I want to do this. So in the characters, when they awake, here's what I'm going to do. I will move this out of awake. We're going to pop it into start. And we're going to say if the game manager dot current state is equal to select, or is select destination. Don't do it that way. I think so. So if we're in a destination state when it starts, it will snap to the nearest tile. No. I'm just going to add a bool here. If game settings dot current dot snap characters, snap all characters. There we go. And then we'll make that a bool because I really want this off. And I only want it there so that I can do it in testing. So snap all characters is going to be off by default. So, and I can move that back to awake then. Okay. That clarifies things up just a little bit. Let's see. Now we've got snapping disabled. Now I just need to, let's verify that. Just jump in, we'll hit play. Characters should not snap down. They should just sit right there and then wait for me to drag them onto the board. All right, so we play. All right, nothing happens. They're just sitting in the state that we were in, looking good. It went into that destination state first because that's in awake, and that's why we did that camera transition. But now it's just waiting for me to move my characters or place my characters. So let's do a character selection script now. So we've got the characters. How do I want to do that? I do that in human player controller, or do I want to do that in like a character selection script? I've got my characters. They're children of the player. I feel like maybe it should be like another script on here. So you can click, select, drag. Whew, let me think. Yeah, I think I'm going to do it as a separate script on here. So let's make a public class human character selection. Make it a mono behavior. And then in here, we're going to get a reference to our player. I'm pretty sure I'm going to need that. Yeah, I'm definitely going to need that. So, oops. I did not mean to hit that. Wrong hotkey. Alt-Enter. There we go. We'll make a serialized. Do I want a serialized field? Nah, just be a regular field, since I'm doing it in awake, and we'll turn that into an expression body. So we've got our human character selection, and in the update, we'll just check to see if I have clicked on a character, if my mouse is over a character and I'm dragging it, something like that. Or what's try select character look like again? What does select look like? Oh, yeah, that actually might be good. Maybe, just thinking for a second. Do I really want to re-implement this selection? I don't think I do. I don't think it makes sense to have two scripts doing that. So let me comment this for a second and think. Let's see. By the way, if anybody is still here in chat, say hello. Let me know. I'm going to watch chat for just a second while I think this through. I'm going to pull up Twitch real quick too. See what that looks like. What? Username does not exist. Hold on 1 second. I'm gonna switch camera real quick. Let's go over to this view. Log into Twitch and just see if it's working and say hello to everybody while I think this through for a second. Oh, why is it playing basketball? It's not game stuff. It does just keep happening. Why? Oh, I'm on the wrong account, huh? Interesting. I just figured I have multiple Twitch accounts. Let's see if I can sign into the right one. Oh, that one doesn't exist. Must be that. Making sure I'm not a bot. I'm pretty sure I'm not. Let's see, we're almost in. And then we can figure out the rest of this code. So, let me think. Thinking. That's always the hard part. Like the hardest part of writing code, trying to figure out the... I have no idea where my YouTube channel or my Twitch stream is. I don't know. It's out there somewhere. I can't even figure out my account and log in. I don't think it matters. All right. Whatever. We're going to dive back into this and just get this thing working. I just needed a distraction for a second. So I'm thinking when we click and select a player, I want to do that in the human player controller. And if we're in that mode, so if we're in, let's just get rid of this for a second. If we're in character select mode, then we'll select a character. And then when we click on a tile, instead of setting a destination, we'll just place them there for now. And then we can go into dragging second. It's always, in my opinion, important to just get it working real quick and then make it cooler and fancier shortly after. So think with that said, I can just do the part. So we've got try select character. There's also a method in here that does try set destination. I'm going to add a breakpoint here, hit F5, jump in, we'll play real quick and make sure that things are doing what I'm thinking that they're doing, and that I'm not confusing myself. And then we should be able to add this in like 2 minutes of code. So we're going to keep it as simple as possible. It's always kind of like my philosophy to try to make the simplest solution work and then make it more complicated as I need it, instead of starting with the more complicated solution and then simplifying and cutting crap out constantly. I've done that too many times in the past. Try to avoid it now. All right, so we get in here and can select a character. So I should be able to select one. I don't know if it's actually selecting. Let's click on a tile. Okay, so let's add in a breakpoint here, and let's add it on try select character. So to do this, and you just hit F5 if you're in Writer with the default settings. You got to be attached, and then add a breakpoint by clicking right there on the left. And then if I click on a character, ooh, why am I not getting it? Okay, let's go check and see if this try select character is actually being called. So it's not, because right here at the top in the update, we check to see if we're in the set destination one. So we can't run if we're not in that mode. So we'll say if we're not in that, and by the way, if you haven't seen the syntax before, it's super nice for just being able to quickly check against an object type. I don't generally recommend you do a lot of object type checking like this, because it's kind of generally not a great pattern. But it's good for these quick hacky little things that I need to do, like make sure that it only works in the right state. So we get rid of character pop-up controls. There we go, and allow the selecting. Oh, I'm an idiot. Nobody has been able to see my screen the whole time I've been sitting here talking and blabbing. I've been watching chat. Okay, so here we go. We're back in. Let me show the code real quick. So what was going on was that the update wasn't calling because you're not checking. I was checking to see if the game state was in the selection mode or destination selection, and then bailing out. So just added the check to see it, make sure it's also not in character selection, so that we can actually do a select. So now I should be able to hit F5 and attach. Let's see, go back in here, hit F5 and attach while it's starting up the editor, and then be able to select a character. Let's see. Actually, I think I'm gonna hit a breakpoint right away. Yep. So the code's running now. That's good. I should be able to click on a character down here, get the select to work. There we go. And then if I click up here, I should still get the destination setting. Let's see, that should call. And it should work right now, even though I don't want it to. So let's see, we go over, and yep, it's gonna try to move, but oh, it's actually gonna, why is it blowing up? Oh, because I'm not on a tile. So it's actually trying to do a movement preview and do stuff, but what I really want it to do instead is not call into try set character destination. So I'm gonna stop, shift F5, and here we're gonna say if, and let's just check the state here. So we'll say if the state is set the destination, or select a character. If it is that, then we'll do try place character. And then we'll say else. And then we can just do this one as an else if. So try place character, I'll implement as a method. And it might just be called place character, I don't know. Let's go into try set character destination. See how that grabs a tile real quick. So I can just copy that. So here we do a raycast to check to see if we've clicked on a tile, which should work perfectly fine. And then we grab a tile from the parent or the other one, and then return back the clicked tile. Ooh, oh, return click tile. What does click tile do? Okay, that's more complicated than I want. So I want to make a method called get clicked tile. So I'm gonna take this bit of code right here, extract it, Control Shift R, enter, extract method, and call this get clicked tile. So this will just give me back a tile. Now I've got an easier way to do it from the other method instead of having to copy all that crap out of there. So I'll copy this, go down to my new method. Where was my new method? Was it up? I've lost it. Where are you? This class is getting too big. Paste it in try place character. So if we get a hex tile, then if we don't get one, then we'll just return for now. I guess we could return false, but we're not doing anything with the result yet. If we do click one, then we'll say character, selected character, because we have our selected character, dot current tile, or I think there's a method set current tile. No? Current tile equals hex tile. Now there's definitely a way to set the tile. Let me see. What sets this again? I've lost track. So current tile, to find this, will just current tile equals space equals, space equals space to see where it's been assigned. Nice, easy little trick to do it. And see, so it gets assigned only by the character, only, let's see, when the position updates, when we step, and what was the other one? I'm going to guess in the like initial snap to nearest tile. Okay, yeah, so that's not an option. So here, let's just take this part. Here we go. Watch this. Extract a method. Set current tile. There we go. And now we'll use the set current tile method that we've just made. So I'll take that, make it public, and go back over to our human player controller and call set current tile. Pass in the hex tile. And with that, we should be able to now click and place a character. Oh, once all of the characters are placed, so let's make this actually return a bool. So it'll return false. And here we'll say return true. Actually, we want to check that the hex tile is not empty too. And hex tile.current character is equal to null. So we'll get a tile, make sure that it is null. Oh, if it's null or its current character is equal to null, we'll return false. Otherwise, we'll set the tile, or we'll set that character there and then return true. So let's go find where we're calling this again and say, if we try place a character, I'm going to add some braces here because it's getting confusing. So if we place a character, then we want to say placed plus plus. Something like that. What is it that I want to do? How do I determine okay, yeah, let's add a bool. So, or an int, sorry. We'll create an int, a field named placed. I don't know if that's what I want to do, but I'm just going to increment it for now. So, whoops, let's go back. I just broke something. Let's do a build, find the error, and then fix it. Oh, we don't have very many viewers, but it's interesting. I got exactly the same number of likes as viewers right now concurrently. Literally like 1 to 1. Mostly just because the viewer count's really low. But what are you going to do? All right, so set current tile is broken. Why is that broken? Inaccessible because of its protection level. Oh, I made this public. I undid that. That's why. Okay. When I hit Control Z too many times and hit undo. All right, so we've got the code in here. I think it's actually going to work now. So I should be able to click on a character and place them. It shouldn't switch into the next state yet, though, because we're not reading that placed thing. So, oh, cool. Thank you for hitting the thumbs up button. Also, if you hit the alert and subscribe and all that stuff, I think it helps. Or just say hi in chat. Definitely helps kind of get stuff out there and get the stream out there. So I select my character, I click on him, and I click that spot, and I have no idea if it worked because I've turned all my debuggy stuff off. So let's add in a breakpoint here. We'll hit F5, drop in a breakpoint on try place character, and I'll go select another guy, go click there, and we hit some breakpoint. Oh, in try place character. We get the tile. Oh, we got a null tile. Why do we get a null tile? What about this time? Second one through. Here, I'm going to add a breakpoint down there and see if we ever select an actual tile. So click the guy. Interesting. Why am I not getting a tile? Let's click here and click on another just random tile there. Get clicked tile. So we'll do a screen array cast there. So what did we hit? Collider is hex 03. That's not going to have a hex tile, but the parent should. Yeah, so we got back the parent. Oh. That's it. So it was the problem. I had it if it was empty, we couldn't place it there. I want to only be able to place on ones that are not empty. This is why bools that turn those into words make more sense. All right, we're almost back in. Go select again. Select again. There we go. Okay, so when I select a tile, though, I need to unselect the character. Okay, So let's do that. We'll unselect the character, and then let's show in the top area how much time is left too. So once we select a tile or replace a character, we'll say selected character is equal to null, and then oh, what's the problem there? Oh, we'll say player dot selected character. I think, do I have another? Yeah, clear selected character. There we go. We'll clear the selected character on the player once they're placed. The other thing that I want to do though is go into the UI part. So where we do the character selection, there's the, let's see. Let me go find it real quick. So it's got the text for selecting movements. This is what I wanted. How am I doing that again? That's in on enter, we loop through, and it's just changing that text. It's kind of hard changing it. I don't particularly like it, but it'll work. So let's go into our other game state, the one for character selection. Man, I can select character. There we go. Nope, I am never going to figure this out. Game state select, there, character selection. Goodness. Oh, it's not in its own file. That's the problem. Let's move it to its own file. That makes it a lot easier to find. So while the state is, while we don't have them all placed, I'm just going to set the text. And I'm going to do it sloppily. Say, let's see, int remaining equals, and it's just going to be that total. So G paste minus placed. And then we'll just say placing. Or placing instead of selecting. So we'll just get some text up there to say how many more we have left to place. And then placed is, oh, that's right. That is going to go up when the player places a character. How do I want to do that? Actually, you know, when I was saying earlier, I wasn't sure if I wanted that placed count in here. I think I don't. I'm pretty sure that I don't want that there. And instead, I just want to calculate it based on the characters that they've actually placed out there. So if they place a character, I'll just return. Actually, I really don't need to do any of the other things. Okay, so yeah, if they place a character, we'll return. Let's say go back to the game state placing. I should be able to find it now. Oh, character selection. I'm an idiot. I keep changing the names of things. All right, so we're in character selection state. I've totally lost my train of thought. If anybody remembers what I was thinking, please type it in chat. So we're in character selection state, and I'm gonna do, got the text popping up there. Oh, I wanted to show the count left and the remaining, which is placed. So placed needs to be calculated, and we can do that by saying placed equals player. Oh wait, do I have a player? No. Shit, because I don't have a reference to the human player. Let's get the player. Var human equals find objects of type. With the human player controller. And then we'll say var player equals human dot first or default. I want to make sure it's enabled. Dot select. No. Dot where. And let's replace this with humans because it's plural. So we want the humans where it's enabled, and we want to select the player. Get component, and we'll just select the player. Again, not optimized, doesn't matter for this. We're just going to get the player here at the start of the game, and we're going to get the human player, and eventually that's going to turn into some network thing that'll probably get triggered from some network event that sets it all up. So for now, we're just sloppily grab our player, And then we'll look through the player's characters. So say placed equals player dot characters. Do I have a reference to the characters? I'm pretty sure I do. Oh. I missed the dot first or default. There we go. And then if we don't have a player, we really don't need them to do any of. Oh fuck! I need the bots to place their things too. So maybe I actually just need to go through like each player. Yeah, I do. So I need to go through each player. Okay, we're gonna start with the human, and then we'll deal with bots next. I got an idea of what I'm thinking, but I'm thinking that this just changes to loop through all players, wait until all players have placed their things, because obviously you need humans, bots, and everything else to place, and then go, instead of doing this weird like human only case. So let's just deal with it real quick in the human scenario though. So player or place is going to equal to player dot characters dot count, and we want a count of the ones where t dot current tile is not equal to null. So that'll give us the number that are placed, and yeah, that's it. We'll probably do that after the yield, so do that after each frame. Simple enough. Oh, actually, I should do that before we update the text, though. So that way we're not one frame off. Let's go check that out. So it should not start until the human has placed all their characters. Still, bots aren't placing things. Not an issue. It's just another thing to just set up real quick. I want to make sure it works with players first. All right, so click and 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 click, and the game goes into movement selection mode. And click and click, click and click, click and click, click and click, but we probably have errors because, yeah, the bots aren't on their own tiles now. So the one issue left to deal with is bots need to place themselves or place their own characters on tiles as well. So how do I want to do that? I think what I want to do is loop through in the character selection and just do the selection right here. So I'll just do show character selection, and right here I'll say for each, or let's say bots. Let's get the bots. Var bots equals copy, paste, and replace the word human with bot. We got our bot player controllers. Say for each var bot and bots. Okay, so we have 8 bots or however many bots we set up. We'll go through each of its characters and place it on. For now, I think what I'll just do is have it snap to its nearest tile. So say for each var character in bot dot characters. Oh, no, I need to get the player. So say var bot player equals get bot dot get component player. If bot dot enabled is equal to false, continue. I want to make sure we definitely don't do anything stupid there. I don't think that's going to catch them, but I can see myself refactoring that and screwing it up. So we'll get the bot player. We'll go through each of the bot player's characters, and then we'll say character dot, and then what was it? Set tile, set current tile, and there was a method right above it to snap to the nearest empty tile. So I think what I'll do is just, I'll make it public. Let's do that. I don't really like making it public because it's really kind of like my temporary one. Let's just steal this. I prefer this. I don't want to end up misusing that because that's like my little snap down method. I'd rather not mess that up. So let's figure out the position right here again. So we'll get the hex generator. This is obviously old code because that is definitely a singleton now. Get rid of the find object type. And then we'll look at the character's transform position. And we'll say var tile equals that. And then we'll set the tile to that tile. All right, so now each bot should go through, set up its character onto the nearest tile. Right now I'm allowing them to place everything that's available, so it's not complete selection, it's more place selection. And then we'll go on to actual character selection, would be like there's 5 guys out there or 8 guys, and you select, once you've picked 3, then the game starts. So instead of you picking however the max amount that we can create or whatever, we'll just do some subset. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then it should kick off. The enemies are right over there. I can run over, start a fight with them. Let's see. Everybody should run over there. Let's go to my time scale window here and crank this way up. Here, let's. I want to make this bigger actually. Then we go select the dudes again. Here, let's turn that time scale down because it's a little huge. Where's that window at? Window, tools, Odin Inspector, static. And then we'll go back in here. Where's the time one? TIME. If you have Odin and you haven't used this, by the way, it's super handy. Just go search for the time one. You can just adjust your time scale right there. I'm just going to pull that right off screen so you guys don't have it seeing cluttering your screen. But there we go. Now I got my characters going. I should be able to give them their destinations again. Get them all in here. Oh, that's my healer. I probably don't want my healer going up that high. I sent my healer kind of to the front. This little squid-looking mage dude, skeleton guy is the healer. Let's crank this speed up again. Here goes the spider. He has a special spider attack that'll cover an area. The particle fort, it's terrible, but that's because I made it. I set the speed to 31 instead of 1. They should be going into fighting. Oh, they're in selecting state again because I was so slow. Let's see. I want this guy to go. Oh, actually, I want him to take out that mage. That's another problem. There's no option to stay still. I really need that option. I had it in there, but then I kind of broke it when I was setting things up. So like the option to stay in your existing tile, super hard. But yeah, it's basically exactly like Fortnite. I mean, slightly better, obviously, but almost exactly the same. It's a game. I was setting it up. I'll probably open source all the code and stuff, but setting it up to do a couple different videos. Had some ideas of things I wanted to try out, and wanted to go through the process of doing the hex map generation, the combat system, and then turn it into a multiplayer thing. So right now it's single player. You can control it with well, technically it's any number of players, but it's local player only, so you can have any number of human players and bots. But I figured I'll make it into a multiplayer one too. So go through the process of how you do the conversion, how you make a game from single player to multiplayer, and kind of what things to think about and talk about. So I was going through that process so that I would have some interesting stuff to do too. All right, so let's stop playing. The last thing I wanted to do here was make it so that I have to pick 3 of the characters instead of all 4, because it's supposed to be character selection, not just character placement. So what I want to do is go to starting character count. I'm just going to turn the default down to 3. Save it. It hasn't been serialized out. If you're not using Writer, by the way, this is one of the things I love about it. It shows you the actual value that's set. So the default is 3. In my one object that I have this in, it's actually set to 18 and 9 and 30. And here you can see that character count is set to 3. It hasn't been changed in the prefab. That's if I go to my settings prefab. Let me show you that real quick. Window, layouts, default. I may as well make this a little bit educational while I'm showing some cool stuff. So if you go into here, go find the game settings. It's these values right here, the 39, 18. And the start count is at 4. Why is it at 4? It said it wasn't changed. Let's change it to 3. All right. Apparently, Ryder lied to me. Or it just reserialized when that happened because it hadn't rebuilt. That's probably what happened. It screwed it up. All right, so now I've got it set to 3, and the game should start when I get to 3. And then what I want it to do is disable characters after that. So I don't want it to just like leave the character there, because that character would definitely bug out. So I want to go through each character that's not placed and remove them. So I'll say for each var character in character, or let's do a find. No, we have character.all. Character.all alive. Let's say if character.current tile is equal to null, And here we'll just say character.die. No, we'll just kill it. For now, I'm not going to despawn it or do anything weird. I'll just do the standard kill action. The other thing I want to do is loop through on the bot. I want to make sure that they only pick 3 of their characters to choose. So I'll say bot characters.take, and we'll just make them take a set number of them. So it'll be the game settings .current.characters start character count. There we go. So now they'll only choose 3 of them, give them tiles, and then all of them will be disabled or kind of killed at the end. So I'll pick 3, the bot will pick 3, and then our fight should start. Let's see if it works. And Mr. Bubble said that a friend was talking about VS Code, and it sounded like it had a lot of writers features. I haven't used VS Code in a while. I don't know if they're caught up or not. I know that last time I used it, it was pretty far behind, so I wasn't super excited about it, but it's very possible that that's changed. Okay, so we got 2 issues. One, the collection was modified, so it didn't kick off, and I think that's probably the only issue. Let's go take a look at it. So it says here, collection was modified. Down here you can see it's on line 44 of character selection, so let's go take a peek. Looped through all of them and then killed them. Got it. Okay, easy enough. We'll do all alive. Here's the easy hack if you run into this and you don't care about the performance downside of it. In this case, do a to list and it's just going to copy the list. So it's going to take all the alive ones, shove those into a list, and then iterate over those instead of changing the backing source list. Because when you take damage, it's killing a character, which is removing it from the list of all characters, which then removes it from the filtered list of all alive. So if I just copy the list before I iterate over it, don't have a problem anymore. All right, so now I should be able to select my 3 characters. Let's put out that guy there, get our healer in the back and the spider up front. Game should start. My other dude's dead. Yep, they've got 3, I've got 3. This is starting to feel almost like a game. Now I just need some objectives other than go kill the enemy, like some points of interest and things to go get. Right now we've got potions, but I don't think they're that exciting. So got to put in a couple interesting things. Let's go to free aspect mode and pause. Can I get this into a, what is it? I never remember the freaking hotkey to full screen it. If anybody remembers the hotkey to full screen that I always hit accidentally, please tell me. I can literally just never remember. Maximize. Whatever the hotkey is for that. If you know it, please drop it in chat if you can remember what it is. You can see they're walking and stuff. Oh, you might not have been able to see. That's where their attacks are. Right now, the mage has a fireball. Oh, the icons are a little messed up. Mage has a fireball. The archer has a arrow thing, and the healer has like an actual heal spell. So he'll just stand back and heal. So if I run up here, let's say stay in combat range. Ooh, there's something wrong with my generation there. Obviously, like that is offset. It's something with the way that I built them. I got to fix that. It's right at the center. Oh, I know what it is. It's the stupid hacky algorithm-y thing that I did. I say algorithm-y, but it was just a really bad hack. I know what it was. Control space? Yeah, control space isn't working for me. That's what I thought too. I thought I'd hit that enough times, but I don't know. I guess I'm crazy. All right, they should run up and get into some fights. And then the camera's all messed up. There we go. Some great animation timing like that. They take damage at the same time that the animation starts. All right, well, it's looking good. I think I've added in my state and got that done. So I think I knocked out the thing that I wanted to do. I'm going to go into plastic real quick and commit it and say that I added a character selection state. Hey, Mike. And we'll check that in. And then I guess with that, I'll just say if you want to see more of these streams, I'd definitely be interested in doing more. Oh, we got to add in this. That's a rename. Let's say renamed an old state. Let's add that too. Renamed the move selection state to destination. So check those in. Yeah, if you want to see more of these, though, if you're interested in seeing the code and kind of the behind the scenes, is not super prepared or anything, just kind of going over the process step by step, then please make sure that you drop a comment, hit like, subscribe, and just go share it. Sharing it makes way bigger difference. I'll look at the camera. Sharing it makes a bigger difference than really anything. Go drop it on Facebook or something. It's like 100 likes worth. So if you do that, I'll definitely be doing more of these. If not, then I'll probably just not do too many of them and code in secret and stuff. So if you want to see more of them, make sure that you just go drop that out there. Let me know and stuff. And then I'll be back tomorrow. We'll be live with the show and got a couple interesting announcements and I think maybe some fun surprise guests. So make sure that you come hang out and I'll see you there. All right, I'm going to say goodbye and shut up now.